These things smoke like no other. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, the smallest automotive channel on all of YouTube. That is mine. Today's a little bit different. I picked up a couple jet skis. I started riding jet skis like in 1999 when I first did a water stunt show in California. Basically, for 3 years, all summer long, I got paid to play. In between shows, I would go out and practice on the jet skis, and I learned how to hit ramps and all that good stuff. That kind of began my love for jet skis, and at one point, I think I had 16 jet skis in my garage. I found a couple skis on one of the local apps that somebody was selling, and I couldn't resist. Let me show you what I picked up. Yes, it is under a cover, but if you know old school jet skis, you will recognize this right away. That is a Kawasaki X2. It is a 92. And with that other one, I got this one. Now, it is not a Superjet. I wish it were. However, it is a stand-up, and this is a 95 Kawasaki SXI. So let me pull the covers off. These things are actually in really great shape. Voila, check it out. This is actually one of my very favorite jet skis of all time. In Southern California, I got to work at Universal Studios, and I did the Waterworld show. Now, in that show, we actually got launched out through a wall on a catapult riding this exact same ski, and we were pulling a water skier. There's some really cool videos on YouTube of the Waterworld show in Los Angeles at Universal Studios. Definitely Google it, check it out, watch some videos. It's such a neat show. It was a lot of fun to be a part of that. But the X2 has always been one of my very favorite skis. In some of the marketing brochures when these skis first came out, they actually had a picture of two people sitting on this. They say, yes, it can be a two-seater. It's not really. I've done it before. It's possible, but it's not like a ton of fun because you're not going to go very fast, and it's tough to balance with two people. So most people will ride these like you're riding a dirt bike. You're going to stand up, you're going to be on top of the bars, leaned over. You can sit down when you're tired for a few minutes or whatever and kind of putt around, but most of the time you're going to be basically just riding it like a dirt bike on the water, jumping waves and stuff. These are pretty cool because the steering on these, let's see, you pull this thing out, it's adjustable, several different settings, and then you've got a trim right here that will raise and lower the nozzle off the pump. Just simple little skis. They're so much fun to throw around. I've got another one that's my personal ski. I've had it for years. It has a 750 motor in it, and it's got a pipe and all kinds of mods and stuff, and it's such a neat ski. This one is all stock. It even has the original oil injection. I think it has an aftermarket stainless prop and maybe an intake grate, but that's about it. I mean, you don't have to do a lot to these skis. They're just so much fun the way that they are. I'm gonna get this one kind of cleaned up a little bit more. I started cleaning on it last night. I'm gonna put a new battery in there and some fresh gas and see if I can't get it to fire up. When I bought the ski, the guy that sold it to me said that the carburetor, I guess, got gunked up. Not uncommon. We'll see if it'll run on its own without some spray, and if it doesn't, then I'll pull the carb off and go through that and just get it cleaned up. But I did a compression test, and both skis were 150 on each cylinder, which is right where they need to be. Let me pull the cover off the other ski and show you the stand-up. This ski is a 750 SXI. This is a 1995. Check it out. How radwood is that? The color combination, and stand-up skis are so much fun to ride. It has been forever since I've been on an SXI, but the skis I started with, I think they were 98s or 99 SXI Pros, and that's what we used in the show, and we just beat the snot out of those poor skis. This has a twin carb, unlike the X2 that is single carb. This is the earlier 750 motor. They call it the small pin. There was a small pin and a big pin motor, and typically the big pin motors are the like the teal green motors, and all the small pins are these silver ones. But still, you know, I mean, this is a quick little ski. So a little bit different video from the stuff I normally post. I mean, it's always some kind of a car thing going on, and now I'm doing skis. You know, I consider myself, I guess, a jack of all trades, so I don't want to be just working on cars. I like everything. I mean, for years, I actually worked in Southern California at a couple of the premier jet ski shops down there, and that's where I learned, you know, how to work on skis, how to work on boats, all that good stuff. And I'm so thankful for those experiences. But I wish that I had found the jet ski scene when I was younger. That would have been a whole lot of fun. But I did dirt bikes growing up, and you know, that was pretty cool too. I just got back from the auto parts store. Got a new battery, got some plugs, I've got fresh gas I'm gonna mix up, put some two-stroke oil in there. Now these skis still have the original oil injection, which is a separate tank that holds the two-stroke oil and then it feeds down and kind of mixes with the gas. Those systems, I don't necessarily trust them, because if that little oil pump that spins on the flywheel, if something ever happens to the line or that pump and you know, you're not pulling that oil in, you don't know, so you're just going to burn up your motor. So it's pretty good practice that if you have one of these old skis and it has that on there, just unhook it, block it off, or just mix some oil in your gas just to be safe. First thing I'm going to do with these things is just pull the plugs and replace those, and then we're going to fill it with some fresh gas. I'm going to put the battery to it and see if it'll fire on its own, if it'll pull fuel, and then that will let me know if I need to go through the carb or not. These old two-strokes are such neat little skis. They're really not difficult to work on. So if you're looking for something, you know, cool to play with and have a lot of fun with, if you can find an old jet ski, like an old 440 or a 550 Kawasaki, a square nose Superjet 650, or even a round nose Superjet, find a two-stroke. If you sink this thing and it gets filled with water, tip it over, dump the water out, pull the plugs, flush the water out of the motor, put the plugs back in, maybe new plugs, and fire the thing right back up. That's what's so cool about these. It'll start up, no big deal. You can have a lot of fun with these for a long, long time with very little maintenance on them. Old nasty plugs, who knows how old those things are, but I got new ones. On these skis, I run the NGK BR8 ES plugs. They come pre-gapped, so it might be pretty good too. I'm just gonna stick these in and see what they do. I am gonna put a little bit of anti-seize on the threads just to be safe. You don't have to crank down on your plugs. Don't do that. Just snug. Don't crank them down. This is the two-stroke oil that I use. I've been using it for years. I love this stuff. It is pretty pricey now. Last I checked, I think this was like 50 bucks for a gallon. Who knows? It's probably more than that by now. But I have a ratio right, and it just helps you get exactly what you need. So I go 16 ounces for every 5 gallons. And I only use the best gas I can find at the gas station. Typically that's always going to be 93. I just put a little bit in there, probably maybe a gallon or so. I'm going to run it on reserve. So the pickup for the reserve actually goes all the way to the bottom of the tank, and the regular on, you know, it's a little bit higher. That way when you're out on the water, you know, if you're on and you're running low on gas, you can flip it to reserve and you got enough to get you back to the beach or wherever you launched from. All right. That one fired up and it works. Sounds good too. Here's the 750. I went ahead and pulled the flame arrestor off just so I could have access to the carbs and just make sure everything looked good inside and the screens were clean. I'm gonna replace this fuel line right here with some like clear blue stuff that I have so I can see that the fuel is actually going between the carbs. It's a little dirty, but it's really not too bad. Once, you know, some water gets flushed through there, that'll clean up really well. I'm gonna replace the plugs, put some fresh gas in it, and then fire up and let's see what happens. All right, new plugs, I got fresh gas. I have that fuel line right there replaced. Let me see if you can see. When I hit the start button, you'll see fuel coming through from that first carb. So now I know that it's coming up into this first carb and it's getting over to the second one, and we'll see if it fires here in a minute. Okay, you can tell by the smoke, this thing is running. Cool. So I should probably just start it and kind of let it idle for a little bit and, you know, blip the throttle just to kind of see what the carb settings are. I really won't know how well it's going to run until I get it in the water, but once I put it under a load, it'll be good to go. All right. So I call that success for today. Both skis fired right up. Both skis sound really good. I know that they have great compression. They're right where they need to be. Next test is really just to get this thing on the water and see how it handles and see how it does under a load with the water coming through the pump. And I don't think I'll really have any issues with it. It seems like a really solid, well taken care of ski. So, you know, it's pretty rare to find those things, especially in this day and age. Most of them are just beat to hell. But I think I got really, really lucky. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the X2 yet. I think I'm going to end up selling that one because I already have one that's kind of modified. This one's probably a little bit easier to get people on and get them kind of putting around on their knees and comfortable and then standing up. The X2s are tough. They take a lot of balance. They take quite a bit of time to figure out. There's kind of the finished product. I went ahead and removed the TX numbers and the sticker because I've got a new sticker that's going to go on that on both sides, and then some of the other decals that were just randomly on the handle pole and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and make my own TX numbers since I have a sticker machine and a vinyl plotter. So I'm just going to create some kind of a design that I like, mostly because I just like being creative and I don't want to have something that somebody else could possibly have. I like to be different, so I'm going to go ahead and spend some time on that. And then I'm going to get the X2 up on the stand and pretty much do the same thing, take the numbers off the side of that, clean it up really well, and make some new ones for that, and they're done. So, fun day working on some skis, a little bit different than the stuff you're used to watching, so, you know, break it up a little bit. That's it, finally. I'm going to be able to get back out on the water this summer. I haven't been out on the lake for, gosh, it's probably been a couple of years at least. So now I have a reason to get back out there. I hope you guys enjoyed this. You know, if you're into some cool old skis, look around, see what you can find. These two-stroke skis are a lot of fun to play with. See if you can pick something up, you know, fairly cheap and do a little work on them. They're easy to work on and perfect skis to learn on if you want to get into this kind of thing. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Stay hungry, stay foolish.